Julia and Philip Siracusa, sponsored by Carnation, airing live on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM in New Orleans. This show's entrance has been edited, produced, and directed by Gwen Clapper from Perfect Trust Productions, LLC. You can find us at perfecttrustproductions.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday night segment of Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We're broadcasting live from the International Public Radio and the United Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM from New Orleans. This evening's show is fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. We love them. You have a few things in order to participate. Go over to our YouTube channel, UFO Paranormal Radio or International Public Radio. You can also go into all of the Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, also Twitch and SoundCloud and Podbeam. And if you have any questions for our amazing guest over there, please ask. So tonight, guys, we have such a great guest. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Todd Bates. Todd is a retired paranormal investigator, and now he takes his knowledge and shares it with his amazing audience on his radio show, Haunted Voices. He owns and operates WLTK DB Talk Radio, going on its 18th year. He's the author of The Haunted Voice, an autobiography, and his life. It's such a great book. He's also the narrator of Ghost Finders that is now streaming on Paraflix and is an amazing voiceover artist. So please, let's welcome Todd to the show.
Hi, guys. Great to be here.
Hi.
I'm honored to be on here. I've been looking
forward
forward
to it. We are honored to have you on. I always get a little nervous when I have such amazing, host on the show that I've been doing this for so many years. So thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
It's weird sitting on this side, though.
Isn't it?
It is.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I usually like to start off like, what drove you into the paranormal? Do you want to start that way, or do you want to dive right into this book? That's amazing. Todd, you did such a great job.
Thank you. That was tough.
I could imagine. I mean,
that was tough.
Not only is this book, about the paranormal, but it really digs deep into your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. It's amazing. And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. I mean, that took a lot. I'd carried that around, what got me started in all this. I mean, I was completely skeptical. I didn't believe in ghosts, UFOs. Yes. But ghosts and things, Bigfoot, no way. And one day I was talked into going on one of those paranormal ghost tours with a local team here. And I said, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. So I talked to the guy and he's like, yeah, he says, and he told me about EVP, and I was really interested in that, the communication part. So he said he instructed me to get an analog recorder at the time and to get one of those and to join the tour. So I went in the tour. We get there and everybody runs to this little general store and just starts taking pictures, and there's flashes everywhere. And I just took my little recorder, and there was a barn way back in the back. No one was there. And I went and I sat down inside the barn and on top of a log pile and just set my recorder down with the external mic and just started talking and asking questions. Of course, I didn't hear anything at the time, but lo and behold, I get back and I'm reviewing the evidence, and I hear a horse. Of all things, it's a horse, and I
Wow.
still have it. It's in a tub somewhere on cassette tape. It's just a and then you hear like a stomping noise, and I didn't hear that with my naked ear, and that is when the obsession started. I wanted to know why. Not that I heard maybe the voice of a dead horse, but that it was on the recorder, not my naked ear. So that obsession just drove me. I started latching on. Back then, the internet was fairly new. There wasn't that much around there, mainly email and chat rooms and things back then. And I started reaching out to people about EVP, and there wasn't too much out there. But I found Sarah Estep,
Mhm.
and oh my God, what a wonderful woman!
Mhm.
She's amazing. She was amazing. She brought it to this country actually back in the day. She's what made it popular here, developed the A, B, and C classification system, the whole 9 yards, and we're talking back and forth on email, and she's explaining some of these things, how they can imprint themselves magnetically onto the tape because she used an old reel-to-reel recorder, and I said, "You're kidding me." So they just kind of stick there like glue. So I was obsessed with just the analog recording in general. Digital recorders came out back then, but they weren't the best. They weren't the best. And the analog recorder just kind of became my best friend for quite a while. And that's what sparked the journey was I would go to all these different locations, started up my own little small team of people, and we would do clients residentials and things like that, and just kind of work our way up there after all this instruction and education. And there's just what I found with the field is there's more questions than answers every time,
Mhm.
and that's
Yes.
what led me down the road was to find those answers. I mean, it's an amazing, amazing ride.
Yeah, that's what always happens. And we have, we find out things, we think we're getting somewhere, and then there's more questions,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
There's always more questions than answers. It's a unique field where we know paranormal activity exists, we know ghosts exist, and the supernatural, the unknown, but it's very hard to explain some things. We try to think about logical things, but some of these things are just big question marks.
Yeah, I mean, it's near impossible to figure out some of these answers, and it brought me to the point I was doing a lot of, investigation work at the Sally House. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
Yep.
Years ago, I basically lived there. I had the Ida key, the whole 9 yards, and there were so many, different experiments I did in there with static electricity, with, um, different types of recorders and things, and that was probably my darkest time, I think, was that house,
Mm.
and that house changed my way of thinking a lot as well. Back when I first started, if it was mean, "Oh, it's a demon," you know? But there's something malevolent in that house, and I learned that human spirits can be cranky as well, um, and they can they can really wreak havoc. She'd set
Mhm.
little fires in the home and things of that nature. She was fixated with fire, little Sally was, but it was that house taught me when to say when. Because I'd become obsessed. I lived 8 hours away from Atchison. I would wake up. This is no kidding. I would wake up at 2 in the morning. Next thing you know, I'm on my way to Kansas. I was obsessed with this place because I knew something was there. We all
Yeah.
knew something was there, yet we couldn't pinpoint it. And you try to follow the story, and it's hard. It's hard with the story with little Sally. Peter James named her. That was a name that she had given him, and the story goes she was getting surgery for her appendix. She had appendicitis, and her appendix was about ready to burst. And they didn't give her enough the ether back then to put her under, so she woke up during surgery and died. I mean, what a horrible way to go. And that supposedly sparked this haunting with the doctor, the mother, the father. Um, there's some that feel that there's even a larger dominant being there that controls the rest of them.
Yeah.
Now it's basically a bed and breakfast. I mean, you just go there, stay the night, do your thing. I just want to warn people about the place.
Yeah. Do you think that Sally was demonic, or I mean, in any way? I mean, that's what I heard, that it was really, really, really bad.
I'm on the fence of little
You're on
Sally,
the fence, right?
because when you have, let's say, a demonic entity, it's going to come to you in an innocent form, I think,
Yes.
like a child.
Mhm.
And that one night in the kitchen, all three of us collectively saw a little girl, the whole 9 yards, with the little dress. She had the bow, and I remember the eyes. They were coal black. You know, that could be a number of different things, but they were soulless almost.
Yeah.
And having that happen with the burning, the scratching, you would think that this would be some kind of demonic force. And it very well may be.
Yeah.
That's way out of my league. I was investigating there for years, and I knew when to cut and run when things from that house started following me home.
Yeah.
And no matter how much closure I did, no matter how much cleansing I did, my oldest daughter saw her at the foot of her bed, and here she is, 12 years old, coming in to sleep with her parents. She's terrified, turned her radio off. My youngest was playing with a little girl in her bedroom, and we had someone come over to cleanse the house. It was smudged, and my little one comes out of her bedroom screaming, saying that we killed the doctor. And she didn't know anything about the place. She's just a little one.
Yeah.
So a lot of things follow me home from that place, and it was a wake-up call. And that's
A
when I
lot of things
slowed down.
follow you home. That's interesting.
Mhm.
And yeah,
It
that
was
can happen.
it was tough to get rid of them. Finally, it subsided. My daughter lives in the same house now, and she hasn't had any occurrences or anything, but that place really woke me up as an investigator and introduced me to proper note taking, to noting all natural sounds. So many different things that place taught me, and it led me down a path where I'm still on the fence of if that place is a demonic haunting or not. I wish that more teams would go out there, good teams would go out there and really dissect the area, because there's a lot of history behind it. But that place is what launched me paranormal wise, getting into more in-depth audio work and things of that nature, things that I had to try and perfect to get communication from there. I mean, I've captured some EVP from there that I can't explain. Um,
Mhm.
blowing candles out. I mean, how on earth can a spirit blow a candle out with a blowing sound? Even these are things I couldn't explain on the recordings, and I've never gotten anything as rich and deep than I did with that location. It is great. So if anybody's listening and anybody's going out there, bring an analog recorder. I know I know they're old and cumbersome, but they work. They still work.
They do. And they're the best. I mean, I was gonna ask you, what is your favorite piece of equipment? But I mean, I think you kind of answered it. They really are the best, right? What do you think, Phil?
It's what I've learned over the years is I would receive less recordings on the analog, but they're more pronounced. They're more of a class A, class B type. Digital, I would get a lot. You would just get them every whip stitch, really. But
Yeah.
they were kind of class C. They were whispers, or they were mispronounced words a little bit. But an analog recording, it's strange. I don't know if it uses the white noise as a carrier. I don't know if it's a magnetic thing, how they imprint. All I know is they get on there and they just don't come off. They're stuck and they're so robust. It's like, okay, here I am. So my favorite piece is definitely the analog recorder. My second would be the digital.
Mhm.
I'm big on less is more.
Yeah.
I used to have all the bells and whistles, and I found it was more confusing. It was creating more
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
More. So if I just went with an analog recorder, some common sense, a notepad, you can get a lot accomplished. I don't have any kind of video recording equipment. I'm stuck in communication land. I want to know why,
Mhm.
not necessarily is there life after death. I'm a firm believer there is now. I want to know why you can come here. However, we can't go there just yet. You guys can come back and forth. We can't, or do we? The other question, the astral plane, do we leave our bodies at night? Do we go visit these spirits and locations? I think that they do communicate with us in our dreams and
Yeah,
things.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I believe that some people have out of body experiences. I do in a
Mhm.
dream state where there's people in there that I don't even know, and I know them in the dream, but I don't know them in reality.
Yeah.
So I think you just hit it on the head. That's true, and I believe that to be factual information. We can't prove it, right? But it kind of makes sense. I remember for an investigation at my own home years ago, I fell asleep on the couch, and these people were in the dream saying, "We know you're trying to contact us, but we're right here." And they were teenagers. And the next day, there was a paranormal team here, and they're talking to a young audience of people that was unexplained. So I think that there's somehow a connection there.
I think so too. You have that. I know whenever I have a really good dream, for example, I wake up and I don't know where I'm at for a little while. It's because I don't think I've been there. I think I've taken
You
off
have
into
that
some.
problem. When you wake up, sometimes it's like you really have to like figure out where you are sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if it's still dark. It's neat how the brain works. I mean, it
Yeah.
has to be a subconscious thing. It has to be something that animates us in there to get us to do these kinds of things. But I think it's a great way to meditate as well when you're laying there before you go to sleep. I've asked loved ones to come see me in my dreams, things of that nature, and it's occurred. Not every time, but it's almost as if you suggest that to your subconscious, but are you creating that person in your dream? And then there goes another question, so it's just never ending. It's
Never
never ending. And that's when I decided to say when. And I retired from the field not because I was done with the paranormal, I had found all the answers. No, it's because I couldn't find any. and it was driving me insane, literally driving me insane. I had to sit down with priests and all kinds of things just to kind of settle my mind down. Am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be curious about this? Is it okay to be curious about this? Life after death. Of course, they reassured me that it's perfectly normal, but it's just that obsession with me, and that's why I had to set it aside. Now, I do go out and get my feet wet still, but I'm not any active team or anything at the moment.
Right.
For that reason.
It's very draining too. I don't think a lot of people really understand what it really takes to go out there and, investigate locations, residential, everything. It's really hard.
It is.
It really is.
These days, especially, it's television programs are great, great for entertainment. But a problem with them is people will watch them and they will contact their local team and look for some free weekend entertainment and have an investigation come out, maybe hoax a haunting or so forth. So you have to be really careful with your residentials these days.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a lot of crazy people too. I mean, you run into all kinds in this field. You've got to be really careful as a team these days. But I'm happy to see is the awareness.
Yes.
The awareness is out there. People are talking about it more. They're sharing more of their evidence.
Believing it more. They're really, it's not like it used to be. People are really starting to really believe a little bit more in the paranormal, and I love to see that. It does make me scared though when I, hear stories about all these young kids, doing silly things in the paranormal, not protect, they don't really know what they're doing. That's kind of scary. But
there's so many of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them. They don't understand that this is not a joke.
No, and unfortunately, the majority of them are going to learn the hard way, and that's what's sad.
Well, I'm living proof of that because I was ruthless. I'm a New Yorker, and I remember my teenage years with the Ouija board. I was relentless, and I was told not to do it. And I kept doing it thinking it was fake. It's fake. It's make-believe. It's psychosomatic. And I'll tell the listener out there right now, if you have enough intent and you use a Ouija board and you don't know what you're doing, you could be in for a rude awakening like I was.
Amen, brother. Amen. If you dabble, you think it's cool. You saw them use it on this episode. Well, maybe they know how to properly use it.
Right.
And you go out there and dabble in that stuff, you're going to create something you can't stop. I mean, they're so much more powerful than what we are. They can be everywhere. They can be anywhere. You can conjure up a spirit through one of those boards. If you don't know how to use it, you could open a portal, a vortex. You could just really wreak havoc, especially if you're bringing one of those to a client's residential investigation and hey, let's use this. I mean, it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool like anything else, and it has to be used properly and closed properly. And I don't touch them.
Yeah.
For that reason, because I don't feel I'm experienced enough to use one of those things.
You're absolutely right.
They're so powerful.
And a lot of people don't understand too. It's just a board. It really is just a board. It's the intent that you're using while you're using that board. And
Well, the thing is, you don't know who you're talking to.
Exactly. And that's what he said.
You just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We could say one name, but meanwhile, it could be somebody that's ready to take you down from the other side that you don't even know. And I've seen that happen. So you don't know. And these things don't leave easily either.
No. I mean, if that's what happens a lot is people will use them. Something happens, they get scared, throw them away. And
I have to jump in there, Todd. You said they throw them away, right? Let's think about it logically. Do you think because you throw the board away that entity is away too? No.
No, sir.
He has a host.
You can
Mhm.
burn it as well, and it's still there, I think. Once
Yeah,
once that
well,
thing is out, it
of
is out.
course.
You
I
know,
mean, that's just
I have a funny story. My mother actually threw one out on us when we were little, and I don't think we were really even using it yet, but she just somehow it got into the house. I remember her throwing it in the garbage, and here I am now. That's true. I mean, just because you throw it out, that doesn't mean nothing. And I think that's what these young kids need to know.
yeah, just like you said, Phil, it latches on.
Hmm.
You know, it's found its host, its catalyst. It's good to go now. And then, you know, people wonder why poltergeists occur in things, and this is my opinion. I think poltergeists are kind of related to the tulpa a little bit, where the mind, our human mind, the spirit works through us,
Yeah.
and the human mind will open that cabinet. The human mind will launch that disc across or dish across the room, but the spirit is doing it through us, I think. And with the poltergeist activity, you see so many adolescents. And I was really worried about my oldest daughter because I was actively investigating that Sally house when she was growing up into becoming a woman. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's this going to do? And thankfully nothing happened. But they're really open and susceptible, I think, at that age. If parents are out investigating heavily and accidentally bring something home, to a pubescent child, whether male or female, do their emotions get so riled up that they manifest these things happening? The cabinets flying open, the chairs moving, and that's been chipping away at my brain for years on how
Mhm.
just the poltergeist activity works. I think it all goes hand in hand. I think it's all right there, um, from manifestation to that kind of activity. It finds a host, it latches on, and you have to get some kind of special work done, to cleanse it, whether it be um, a psychic medium, a demonologist. They just you've got to be careful because
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. You can't tell uh, if it's human or inhuman. It doesn't say, "Hi, my name is Frank. I'm a demon, twice removed." Blah blah blah. It doesn't give you that kind of information. It
No.
it just appears, and it just does. So a researcher has to be really careful, especially bringing it home to their family. You know,
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Hey, Todd, tell us another ghost story of an encounter where you felt intrigued, drawn to, but not the Sally house, but also felt like maybe something didn't want to leave you.
that's a good question. There's one house, and it's here local, that stands out in my mind. It was one of the craziest experience, one of the most eeriest things I've ever experienced, recording wise. The house, we were on the front porch. We didn't even go inside of the house. We were sitting on the front porch doing a recording session, and I picked up residual, the residual murder. You could hear screaming. You could hear moaning in this. This was all captured on the front porch. I'm just playing this and listening to it over and over, and it was a great capture. Uh, just the screaming, the everything was in there. And what what got me about it is, okay, we got this on the front porch. What in the world happened in this house? Because it was condemned. It had burned. It was still upright, but it was definitely burned. And after doing some digging, what had happened there about 10 years prior was a mafia hit here
Oh.
local. it was a guy that was sent there to take care of this guy's wife, supposedly. Um, he didn't know the kids were there in the closet. And he went there, he bludgeoned her to death and then set the whole place on fire. With the two kids, the two little girls were found holding hands in the closet. It was just gut wrenching. And after learning this and then listening to that file, you can hear the swings. It just made, everything more clear with the EVP capture. You could hear her screaming. You could hear the swings, and that stuck with me. And that tore me up for quite a while because I couldn't do anything about it. It was just a horrible situation. And I feel that, that was all residual energy, of course, but this place was just pouring out. And it was one of those that I couldn't touch. I couldn't go in and do anything about it. I couldn't go in and find more answers. I couldn't, because no one was allowed inside the home. We were only allowed on the front porch, but still captured the recording on the front porch without being inside the premises. So that can happen as well. But that one left a mark on me because of the kids.
Yeah. Oh,
Because of the kids.
That's horrible.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah. And, it's one I'd like to revisit again one of these days. But yet, something holds you back from it. Are you going to get something worse this time? Or do you just kind of leave it where it's at and just kind of close the case? It's one of those that just sits there cold. I'm itching to, because right now the house had been completely torn down. All that's left there is a plot. And I would love to go there and see if it's tied to the land as well. Because I think that spirits can do that as well. It's tied to the land as much as it is the home. It'd be nice to revisit it. But it tore me up.
Yeah. There's always that one case that, really does leave a mark on you. Like you said, I mean, that's sad. I mean, you don't forget those things. I mean, it's like it's like an officer, a cop, a fireman. Sometimes these things will sit with you and you don't necessarily forget them.
No, it's hard. It's very hard to learn the history of some of these places, such sad stories that go along with a lot of these hauntings. The stories are just so sad. They're traumatic. The family went through hell, for example. And
let me see who's in chat. I want to say hello to Anna. Is that Phil? Can you see chat? Anna, hello everyone. How are you? Yes. So let's get into your book. I know.
Let's get into it.
You were so nice enough to send me a copy of it, and I just want to say that you did a really great job, and it must have been really, really hard for you. I mean, what really inspired you to write the book now?
Great question. I wanted to first and foremost get that off my chest. I'd been carrying paranormal goo and problems for a long time, and it felt good to. And I hid the whole thing from my family. My own kids didn't even know. My girlfriend didn't know I was writing a book. It was if I would have told someone, I wouldn't have done it. But it all just started flowing, and it was a release. I had to make amends with myself, with a lot of people. I've been in this field for quite a while, and I've been on a lot of roller coasters. I've burned a lot of bridges with alcoholism. That was my go-to when I couldn't find any answers, or when I needed to settle down from one of these wicked hauntings. I turned to the bottle, and that was my go-to. in this field because it wouldn't take the problem away, but it would take it away then. That was my mentality, and that was the wrong mentality. So I wrote the book to free myself from that demon that was saying, okay, Todd, if you say this, they're going to know. You're going to be vulnerable. You may appear to be weak. And then, all these things are going through my head. And I'm thinking, no, this is life. Life happens. In this field, sometimes it's a little darker than what other people experience, but it's life. And maybe this could help someone. Maybe someone else out there in this field turns to the bottle like I did. And maybe this will help them find another outlet. And I wanted to share all I could about myself with people because I am, believe it or not, a total shy introvert. I don't get out much. My show is my social time. I have high anxiety. I'm bipolar, you name it. It's just all of the mixes that shouldn't be there are there. Yeah. But that book helped me connect with myself and the reader, hopefully. I wanted it to be entertaining a little bit as well as informative, about my life, because it's hard to write about yourself. That's the last thing you want to do is get these things out there. But I had to share the story of not only working in the corrections field, but then being in bars, behind bars. Yeah. It was terrible, horrible experience.
Well, we thank you so much for writing it. I mean,
Can you hold the book up to the camera, Jewel?
I'm sure you've helped so many people with this book. Where can everybody find it?
Well, they can find it on Amazon. They can find it on Barnes & Noble. If you want a signed copy, they can get it on my website, toddmichaelbates.com. The easiest place, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, a few of these other places I can't pronounce where it's going out there, but I self-published it. I'm not going through any big publisher.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to make $1 million off of it. This was a freeing journey for me. Yeah. And a lot of those entries in there are from my journal, and it was just a lot of fun to write.
So, Todd, for the reader, give me one takeaway that they can get from the book.
Wow. What I would like for them to take away from it is not all hope is lost. You may be in the darkest point of your life, the biggest pit, the biggest rock bottom that you can think of, the lowest you can think. There's always a way out, always. You have to talk to others. You just have to reach out. Some of these things you can't do alone. You need help, so get help.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's important out there to the listener. That's one reason you want to get the book. That's a big takeaway. In the darkness, there's help. There's always the light on the other side. You can get out of it. Just like Todd's saying, he's been through a lot. He's telling us a lot of stuff he's been through, and to pull out of that and then write a book about it, it helps the next person moving forward in life. So great work with that.
Thanks, Phil.
And Todd is going to be so nice. He said he is going to give one of our lucky listeners a free copy of his book. And
cool.
He will be very, very, very excited because it's a good book. It really is. It's it's a quick read too.
It is.
Easy read. And I just can't say enough great things about it. So we have a question, okay? And whoever can answer the question correctly will get a free copy from Todd. So
Well,
Okay,
you
so
know what? You know what's funny? Wait, you know what's funny about that? So you're going to get Todd's book free if you get the answer, but you're also going to get that book straight from the Horsefly Chronicles home. Bang. That's 2 in 1. Go ahead, Julie.
oh my God. All right. Well, so what horror movie did Zelda Rubinstein play in? I hope I said her name right. Rubinstein. So what movie did she play in?
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I had to Google that. Phil came up with that question, and he did a really good job with it. But I'm gonna admit, I had to Google it.
The last name I didn't know, but the first name I knew right there. Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I love one of my favorites.
but whoever has the answer in chat, you guys could message Todd, and he will send you a book, and that's so nice of him to do that on our show.
Yep. All they have to do is send me an email. I'll make it even easier for them and give them my Gmail, toddbates@gmail.com. The
Wow.
first person to get that, and then I'll send them a signed copy. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, you guys are gonna love this book. Trust me.
It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And you know, like Julia said, it's a quick read, but it's got some good stuff in it. It's got some good stuff in there, and you'll learn quite a bit about me that you didn't know. And it was, like I said, it was very freeing writing that. And I'm actually working on a second one that's more detailed and is more into modern, brings us up into now. So I'm working on that one too. Hopefully I have that out within the next year or so. But they're tough. You have to take it in stride, do certain sections I would have to separate so I wouldn't get too upset. It's not something you type and you're smiling away when you're doing this. It's you cry,
it's emotional. It brings you back to all that stuff that you kind of like pushed away for a while too, right? I know that you inspired me to like start writing. I mean, it's a really great story, of a man who went through a lot and came out great in the end. So
I think everybody should do that. Write a story of their life. I really do.
True. Hey, as we're getting closer to the end of the hour, let's do a checklist, Todd. So I'm going to ask you questions. You could say believe, not believe, or a question mark.
I like that.
Do ghosts exist?
Believe.
Do aliens exist?
Believe.
Do demons exist?
Believe.
Are you here right now doing this show with us, or is it a conscious form of you doing it?
Believe. That was awesome.
That was good, Bill.
That was awesome. And that's a good point. That's a good point. Those are the things that keep you going, the things that make you go,
That's true. That is true. And thank you so much. You know, I believe in everything you just said. We can't prove a lot of things, but I know firsthand aliens do exist. Ghosts do exist. Demons do exist. And of course, then if there's demons, there's angels do exist and spirit guides. And one of the biggest confusing things as myself, a paranormal investigator, and my wife and Todd and a lot of people out there is sometimes we just don't know when we walk into a location who we're talking to. And I can't tell you time and time again, well, you'll actually think it's the identity of that person from the 1800s, the 1700s, and that historic location, but only to find out it's a silhouette of them and it's truly not them.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's deep, Phil.
Very true.
That is so true.
Good job.
Wow.
Makes you think. See?
Yes, it's amazing, incredible stuff. And to the listener out there, paranormal investigating can be fun, but you have to be cautious. And the Ouija board, I feel like it's more they're going through you, the spirit. So you have to be careful with that, because I have personally seen people that were the kindest, nicest people being taken over. And I cannot explain it. And then vicious crimes do happen from that. It's almost as if they know your darkest, weakest point of life. And when they find it, they know how to take you down. And Todd, that ties into your book, because you see, you got out of that realm of darkness. You pull yourself out, but yet you leave the demons behind. And we have to be careful of some of the things that we tamper with in life, because we just don't know who or what is watching. And I've learned that during investigations, some of these things will seek to take you down in such a way where you don't have to see anything. And the devil does not wear a watch. We do. His time is inevitable. And the entities from the other side can say, okay, now I have you. 20 years later, when life is going good, when you're married with kids, let's see how that car stops. I have seen things time and time again that cannot be explained. I do not believe in coincidences. I think that everything happens for a reason. To the listener, raise your vibration, be the better person, and push it forward to mankind.
Wow. Well said.
Well said.
Well
Todd,
said.
thank you so much. And we can't wait to be a guest on your show.
Oh,
We're looking forward to that.
it's
Yeah,
going to be a
we
blast. I can't wait to have you two on.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
really looking forward to it. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd, for coming on.
Thank you.
Taking this on.
Thank you again.
My
Yes.
pleasure. Anytime.
So again, guys, grab his book. You will not regret it. It is a great book, and you will learn something.
And give us the name of the title again, Julie. Have the name of the title?
The haunted. I'm sorry, the haunted voice.
The Haunted Voice. I like that. The
Yes.
Haunted Voice by Todd Bates.
His radio show too.
Awesome. All right, Julie, wrap it up.
Right. Well, special thank you to Carnation for fully sponsoring the show. We love them. They've been sponsoring us from day one. Please join us next Monday at the same time on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM from New Orleans. And we are now on Roku. So that is very, very exciting. Stay tuned for The Missing Piece with Trish Mo. Thank you, Todd, for coming on. We love you. You're great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to the listener out there, Todd Bates, really quick, has his own show. Todd, tell us your own show.
Sure. The Haunted Voices. It's on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Central over there at WLTKDB.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Todd. Thank you to the listener out there. Don't forget to message Todd for that free book. If you get it correct, only the first person, not the first two people, will get it. Everyone have a safe, great night, and stay tuned for the next show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.